One of the challenges that we have today, and again, when you hear me share things, it's because we were birthed into a generation that ate a certain way. We live off of our taste buds. We didn't eat to live, we lived to eat. And one of the most important things concerning humanity is water. And when you study the precepts of God in the process, it's from the very beginning, God dealt with water. The Spirit of God moved upon the face of the earth. It was upon water when God began to make darkness light. And then when God made man, he put him by 4 rivers. And he purposely did it because he knew how important. Now we're talking about the natural side of life, the human being. Now we can spiritualize everything, but what has happened during this pandemic, there has been an attack physically and naturally upon your body. And you can have a prayer life, you can speak in tongues, you can do all those things, but God gave man biblically a natural process of living also, but you didn't have men of God who looked in that aspect of walking with God, the natural side to that degree. And then when you have somebody to work in the medical field, they basically are going to talk about what they've been taught in school. And that's treatment, not curing. So when we look at the very beginning, how God has set man up, and then we'll notice the first miracle that Moses did was concerning water. The first miracle that Jesus did was concerning water. The plan of salvation is concerning water. So God is showing how important water is. This is one of the waters that we drank, Crystal Gaza. And the mistake that humanity did, what we did, was we only drank water when we thirsty or eating. And water was supposed to be part of our daily process. Let's start reading at Genesis 2 and 11 and see where God placed man. Read.
The name of the first is Pison, that is it which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium in the onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is it that compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. That is it which goeth towards the east of Azarah. And the fourth river is Euphrates.
Now, God was specific that he wanted man to be taken care of naturally and spiritually. Now, when we get into details with this, you're going to find out how much water is important to our spiritual being and our natural being. Let's notice from the very beginning in Genesis 1 and 2, what it says.
And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So
the manifestation of God was the Spirit of God was moving upon the face of the waters. And a lot of things that we don't like to talk about. Let's look at this whole process of water. The 6th and the 7th verse, Genesis 1, read.
And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so.
Let's go to the 9th and the 10th verse, read.
And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good.
The 20th and the 21st verse. We're talking about water. Read.
And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly, after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good.
Now, this 20th verse is a whole nother subject that I really don't want to get into. But God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that have life, and the fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. So there were a whole nother set of creatures that came forth from the water, living creatures. And when you go into detail, then you're going to find out where Cain's wife came from. And then when you go down to Genesis 1 and 24, and then you see where the earth abundantly brought forth. This is where Adam was created from. So you got every living creature in the beginning being birthed from the water. And then you got that tangible one the first one that he touched with his hands. Adam was the first man that he touched. He took the clay and formed and breathed, and man became a living soul. So now we're in the water. And then when you look at one of the things that once I started doing this, it wasn't just the fact that I was dealing with a health issue. When I started, me and my wife had started, and Mama Cloud ain't gonna say nothing, but she was eating a little something different. She had a little stuff she was eating on the side, but we started out, and we were straight alkaline, and the part of the church came along with us. And now, mind you, this was right before the pandemic. I started teaching this and sharing this what God had gave me about eating. And then our apostle wrote a book called This Is For Your Health, and so forth. And so I started understanding drinking that gallon of water a day, it's a fight. So part of our eating habits was drinking a gallon of water a day. Now, because God didn't intend for us to drink water when we thirsty or drinking water when you eating. Drinking water was supposed to be something that you did for your health, so you didn't wait. So I got this water. I was not thirsty. This is for your health. Now, when you wait until you thirsty, Deacon Brown turned into a prophet that day, brought me a big bottle of water, and you drink for your health, not Kool-Aid, not sodas. Your body needs water. And it's one thing I learned doing this way. I remember when I talked to various people who live this way, and I can recall when my pastor, Apostle Coward, ran into Chris at the airport, and I called Chris and we was talking, and he is a trainer for professional athletes. And a lot of the professional athletes, they eating plant-based now. So he is one of the trainers that me and him was talking on the phone. And he said, Bishop, Your body, if you allow, your body will tell you how to treat it. They say, listen to your body. Your body will tell you what it needs. And that was a powerful statement. And I started allowing my body to tell me, okay, this is, I could feel a certain way. This is what I need to do. You know, when I was feeling fatigued and tired, I knew that I needed iron. And that's when I went and studied and looked up the sarsaparilla and the burdock, wasn't it? The sarsaparilla and burdock. That's for your iron. Those are the herbs for your iron. And so I added that into my daily diet. These herbs. I didn't want to drink tea. I wanted to crush the herb up, put it in a capsule, and take it like a pill so I could consume more at a time. Because sipping on the tea is good. Sipping on the tea is like a quick fix. But when I take it in the capsule form, it's like something to stretch out during the whole day. So I take sarsaparilla. That's one of the many herbs that I take for a day. But sarsaparilla and burdock, I take that in the morning and at night for the iron, to build up the iron. But water has been in the process of it. Now, the difference in a grape, do you know that a grape and a raisin is in the same family? The difference in a grape and a raisin is water. The raisin is just a dehydrated grape. The raisin didn't get the water that the grape did. Remember yesterday I shared with you that's the blood of the grape is the blood that we could consume. So now you got something that did not get water like it should, which is still edible and still good for you. And then you got something, a grape that's big and plump and juicy and full of water. And it looked totally different, but they're in the same family. And the only difference is water. So now, when you as a human being, when you stop drinking water, then you increase your aging process. Because one of the things I saw when I started drinking this water and getting sun, I started seeing I had the blackness around my eyes, which indicates that you're low iron. Your iron is low. And that's one of the reasons why I was feeling it. My body was telling me I was low iron because I was fatigued and tired. I wasn't eating meat, so I wasn't getting the protein and the iron that I normally would have got through eating meat. But there's iron through plant-based. So the plant-based life can produce everything that you have in eating meat. You got it in the plant-based life, the substitute for it. So let's notice here in Jeremiah 17 and 7 and 8, read.
Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, and whose hope the Lord is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat cometh. But her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit.
So now we want to take notice to the fact that God, when God speak of man, he talked about man like man is a tree. He said, now your growth and development going to be just like a plant, just like a tree. So when you look at life, let's notice here Psalms 1 and 3. What it say?
And he shall be
And
like
he shall be like a tree. Read.
planted by the waters, by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper.
He's talking about humanity like a tree Now, he's speaking of that bringing forth his fruit in his season. So now, when you start dealing with a woman who can't have children, and when you're dealing with the medical field, there are medical deficiencies that can take place in a female body and in a male body. But all the things that the medical field do, they'll go and x-ray this and research this and treat this and treat that. But how many doctors have just flat out just told that woman who can't have a baby that drink the water? They give you all this medication, they give you all these instructions, they tell you to do things and so forth. So with the man of God that goes in this area, like the priests did biblically when they could deal with leopards and so forth, they would tell the people how to eat. And you didn't have that. So that's how this pandemic was able to go in, because people were so busy prophesying about money and prophesying about how God gonna bless you and just dancing and shouting. And one thinking about this is for your health. And what's for your health? Eating to live the Bible way. So now God speak of the process. Let's notice here in Deuteronomy 28:4, what it say?
Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy
Now,
ground.
He's talking to humanity. He's talking to humanity. He's talking to the animals. He's talking to the ground. He's talking to mankind. So he said, blessed shall be the fruit of thy body. That's that woman having a baby. Read.
And the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
So he's telling everybody, now, if you want to reproduce, I got a plan. He's telling the ground, he's telling man, he's telling the cattle, he's telling the sheep, he's telling all of them, you want to increase in thy kind, I got everything set up. Psalms 1:1-3. Read.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doeth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper.
So now he's giving you the man, the spiritual aspect of it. You walk not in the counsel of the ungodly, but standing in the way of sinners, and sit not in the seat of the scornful. And meditating on God day and night. And then he telling him the process, okay, now you're going to be like a tree that's by a rivers of water. And remember, in the beginning, he put man by 4 rivers. Why? He wanted him to be fruitful, and he wanted him to multiply. And when you biblically look at the whole process, even drinking water, when you got so many people who are angry, depressed, upset, attitude-ish, and the Bible got little things. We're going to talk about honey in another chapter. But honey is a form of making you glad, but it's another form of making you glad. Psalms 46:4. Read.
There is a river, the streams whereof shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacles of the Most High.
Drinking water can change your attitude. Now you can be too far gone. You might be demon possessed. You need to be we need to do an exorcism or something. You know, I don't know what level you're on, but just drinking water. Just drinking water. I ain't thirsty. I'll be going to the bathroom after a while, But this is for your health. Eating to live the Bible way. Y'all love the Lord? We need to understand the power of water and how water has been a part of the whole process of life, and how God took all these illustrations in the Bible, how Moses was drawn out of the water and so forth. And water means so much to Jesus that he described himself as a vine, and then he said, we the branches, and then Jesus turned around and called himself the living water. But one of the things that you find today, a lot of people don't like drinking water. You get these churn. What you like? Kool-Aid, soda? Which one? Soda. Anybody here just like drinking water? What you like, Nene? Soda. Zai? Oh, Lord, that's how I go spiritual here in a minute. I should have known. She said, nah, I'm smarter than that. Them two right there just gonna say what they Zai say water. Zai drink water like that? Yeah, Zai smart then. She said, I know how to answer, Bishop. Water. Water. But after church, we get with them little things you be having with the little straw in it. Capri Sun. Y'all love the Lord? God knew how important water was, so he surrounded miracles in water. Described himself as water. Let's go to Exodus 2:10. What does it say?
And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses, and she said, because I drew him out of the water.
It's around 80% of your body is water, and you don't realize the importance of just drinking water. I don't care what your sickness is. You drink enough water, you'll flush yourself. That's why you drink the water, then you go in the bathroom, drink the water, you go to the bathroom, drink the water, and your body will tell you. Your body telling you when you urine and the coloration and the smell. Now you drink water, it'll start flushing your whole system out, and your body will tell you when you go urine, okay, you are changing the structure. You're putting inside of your body. Your body start letting you know. Your urine will tell you it turned a darker and a strong smell. That means something is going on in your body. Then you drink about a gallon of water a day, it'll start flushing. Then you'll see the coloration begin to change, because that's why God put man by water. Because he realized in everyday life things, you got noisy pestilence in the air, you got all kind of things that we can encounter and so forth. And then he know drinking that water will eventually just flush it out. Even the fruit of a woman's womb, water can prep it for it. But the doctor don't talk about that, because you ain't gonna make no money off of water. When I was young, I would have never imagined you going to the store and paying some money for a bottle of water. We used to drink water out the water hose. Y'all know the water hose taste of water? That's a strange taste. Outside playing. Children play video games now. They don't be outside. So you outside playing, you sweating. We were drinking water. And you couldn't get in the house. You go ahead and get some water hose water. And you thirsty enough, even the water hose water was good. And you taste the water hose with it. Water hose water with water flavored water hose. You could taste the rubber. But it quenched your thirst, and you went right on back out there and kept on playing. I I ain't finna go in here, go in the house, because you go in the house, you might get a whooping. You go in the house, they might not let you go back out. So I'm gonna drink some of this water hose water right here, right now. You know, children don't play like that now. They got this videos out now. They sweat with their fingers. Their fingers might need something. You know, they work them hands. Let's notice here Genesis 24:17 through 19. What it say?
And the servant ran to meet her, and said, Let me, I pray thee, drink a little water of thy pitcher. And she said, Drink, my lord. And she hasted, and let down her pitcher upon her hand, and gave him drink. And when she had done giving him drink, she said, I will draw water for thy camels also, until they have done drinking.
Now here you are, you having Rebecca offering water to him and the camels because they realized water meant so much. Now, when we go out the country, I remember we went to not the Philippines, not what I said, Philippines, Philippines. We went to the Philippines. Yeah, they offered food. It's an insult to turn down food in some countries. The only time you turn down food is when you think the people are not clean. It's an insult. You know, we was in South America and we went to the pastor's house to eat. He invited us to the house to eat. And because we from America, he automatically had Coca-Cola soda because he thought that's what we drank. And I was not living this way, you know, this lifestyle, eating and live the Bible way, you know. So he said, Coke? You know, I said, yeah. You know, because we was from America, he automatically offered us a Coke because through TV and looking at America from being out of America, they figured that's one of the main drinks. And one of their main drinks was coconut water. Coconut water. So the family there, they got the coconut water. And I remember sitting there and I tasted that coconut water and I frowned. I said, oh my goodness. I said that to myself. And I had somebody sitting next to me who came with us over there. I don't want to call no names, but they had them sitting next to me. And I said, because I seen they had drunk all their coconut water. I said, look at him. Will you do me a favor? Hey, let me hold your glass. I'm going to sit over here with me. And you take mine, and then you got some more coconut water. So we trade glasses, and it appeared like I drunk my whole glass, and then I got that Coca-Cola. So I'm hitting on the Coke, but the coconut water is good for you. But my body, I was living according to my taste buds, my taste, not listening to my body. Because the moment, you know, I got hooked on Pepsis, and but I would crave for a Pepsi, drink a Pepsi, then you feel bloated up, then you feel sluggish. The same old pattern, And what the body's saying, now food is supposed to be energy, drink is supposed to be energy, but you eating and you getting sluggish and tired. Your body telling you something. You drink a Pepsi, you get bloated, sluggish, and tired. Your body is trying to tell you that. I thank God for when Chris shared that with me. He said, your body be trying to tell you things. You're not listening to it. Your body tell you what you just consumed, I do not agree with it. Because I remember talking to the brothers from Cuba, and I was taking them to the airport, and we was sitting down. We was in the car talking, and we stopped by to get some gas, and we got something to eat, and we ate. And again, this was before I started eating the Bibleway. We ate, and one of the brothers was all geeked up. He was eating. I said, man, you eating, you get all fired up. I said, we over here eating, we getting tired and sleeping. He said, get tired and sleeping? I don't understand that. Because they eat totally different. They eat totally different. So he getting energetic. He getting fired up. He eating. Matter of fact, that was Deacon Taylor from Cuba. You know, that's the one be shouting up stuff when we be in church from Cuba. And he was sharing with me, he said, the food is energy. Now, God was preparing me for this pandemic, having encounters with people who live a totally different way of eating and the results of the eating. So my body was saying, what you just ate, I don't agree with it, because what you eat is supposed to give you energy. But here you are sleepy, tired, and sluggish. And that's when I realized Pepsi do have some Coke in it or something. And that's the process of it. Let's go to St. John 4:10. Read.
Jesus answered and said unto her, If thou knowest the gift of God, and who it is that saith to thee, Give me to drink, thou wouldest have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water.
They say now, Jesus telling this woman, if you knew who I was, if you knew the man that's sitting here asking you for a drink of water, he said, I'd have turned around and gave you some living water. Now God is showing the importance of water. Now he want a drink of natural water, spring water from a well, and that's the water you're supposed to drink, not this purified, not this all this genetically modified water. The safest water is just straight spring water, period, in the process of it. Now let's notice in St. John 4:14, what it say?
But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life.
There are certain things you do, I don't care how critical people be. A person can be critical and say, well, I ain't with that. Well, you just take your little sick body and continue doing what you're doing. Because some people, all they do is just sit back and critique. They critique everything. Now, I'm giving you scriptures on this. Why? They're experiencing death. If sickness do come to us, we got one medicine right here, water. I ain't drinking because I'm thirsty. Keeping yourself flushed out. And when you really, when I found the plant-based protein, plant-based vitamin C, plant-based green food, and so forth, and I found the formula where all of it had to be mixed with water. It had to be mixed with water, and what's the purpose of it? The whole purpose of it was, okay, I want you to put the plant in your body, but I want water in there also. Because we're supposed to be like the tree by the river of water. St. John 17:13, read, and 14. Huh? Jeremiah 17. What I said. Let's go. Jeremiah 17:13 and 14.
O Lord, the hope of Israel, all that forsake thee shall be ashamed, and they that depart from me shall be written in the earth, because they have forsaken the Lord, the fountain of living waters. Heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved, for thou art my praise.
If you don't see how God is showing the importance of water when he characterized himself as living water, he said, I'll cut you off. I'll leave you alone. Zechariah 14:8 and 9, read.
And it shall be in that day that living waters shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them towards the former sea, and half of them towards the hinder sea. In summer and in winter shall it be. And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one.
Now, in this whole process, he's given the importance of water. Revelation 21, 6 through 8. Read.
And he said unto me, It is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. But the fearful and unbelieving, and the abominable, and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death.
Now, I can't blame these children or even the adults for the way they feel about water, because we grew up in an environment where it was not emphasized, it was not taught. But as I'm old enough, before video games, when you had to go outside, that your life required water. That's why and you can see in athletes, an athlete can get COVID, but you don't hear about none of them dying of COVID. Because there's two things that they're consuming. They're consuming water and they're consuming sunlight. So now that's like the tree planted by the river of water. So COVID come to somebody, but it can't conquer if you eating to live the Bible way. So I'm not saying COVID can't come. COVID can come, but it cannot consume that body that eat to live the Bible way. And I'm not talking about vegetarian. I'm not talking about pescatarian. I'm not talking about alkaline. I'm not talking about vegan. I'm talking about eating to live the Bible way. There's a process of it. And now, I cannot turn around and say all of this and say, if you just do this, then you ain't got to worry about COVID. Now, I have to keep God as number one. And the same thing he did, the man that meditated on him day and night, one that's not going to sit with the ungodly. You got to live something too. So don't think that just because you change your eating habit, I cannot do this teaching and exclude God and say, well, if you just, that's why some people have a horrific experience with this COVID. Some people have death with this COVID, and some people have no side effects at all of this COVID. Because I feel it's a relationship with God that truly, that brought over 200 churches, because everybody among us was not eating this way. Everybody in the organization was not. But you had somebody praying, you had somebody relationship with God. And it don't matter about how people feel about you and so forth. Look, we are in the land of the living, and God has given us a testimony that many do not have. So I don't care nothing about what the critics say. I don't care nothing about what the doctors say. Because the doctor got all his education, got all his medicine and so forth, and they could not stop the death. But it was the answer, the medication, and everything was there all the time, right there in the Bible. And God gave us the remedy before COVID came. I started doing this before COVID, seeing the emphasis of not eating meat, looking at the fall of man, looking at how man began to change after he started eating meat. And now he's showing us the importance of drinking water. And that's one of the things. Do I have anybody here who just don't like drinking water? Don't get deep on me right now. Who in here just don't like drinking water? Anthony. Yeah. Well, I mean, like I say, you can't blame the children or nobody, because y'all gave them sodas and juice and whatever. Y'all bought them what the thing was with the straw. Croissant. Capri Sun. Y'all bought them. Y'all ain't go down there and get them no bottle of water. You know, in the turn of the day, they tell the family, the parent, I don't want to eat that. Man, you'd have got busted in the head when I was a little boy. You'd have got jab slapped. You do not say, what was on that table? You just look at it and say, oh, we got this tonight. But you ate it because you got hungry. And then the next day after school, you go outside and you play. You work up a sweat. And you ain't running in the house because grandma, my mom, you ain't bringing all that dirt in this house, so you ain't running back and forth in no house and so forth. Make you take your shoes off and everything because it's disease even under that and so forth. You couldn't be out there running around. So half the time you just didn't wear no shoes, went out there barefooted. And even with that, touching the ground brings health because our bodies are electric. And that's the only time that now you see these braces. I ain't styling. These are minerals from the ground. These braces that I wear. These are minerals from the ground. So getting something from the ground. Because when I was young, we used to go outside barefooted. You go out there and play tackle football and fall on the ground and so forth. So nowadays, nobody holler touch the ground. They don't touch the ground, but these football players and these soccer players and so forth, they out there falling on the ground, touching the ground. Electric. Our bodies are electric. So now, when I was young, my wife was I don't know, she had an extra dose or something. In the wintertime, you used to walk by each other and electrocute each other. Y'all remember that? Okay. Yeah, and people ain't doing that no more. Mama Cloud would tear up every watch she had. You buy a watch and the electricity in her just tear the watch up and so forth. So the bodies today are not electrified like they were when we were younger. In the wintertime, you just walk by somebody, you got electrocuted. Our bodies are electric. Again, your body's telling you something, okay? Now, this is the way you're supposed to be. You're supposed to, if it's cold enough and then you pass by each other, it's supposed to electrify. They're saying, okay, your body good. Nowadays, you don't never hardly experience that. You don't never walk past somebody and they electrocute you now. Do anybody know what I'm talking about? Now, these kids probably don't know what I'm talking about. Anybody ever electrocuted you? Somebody electrocuted you before? I'm talking about walking by and talking about, y'all fight. She's shocking you. You done got shocked by somebody before? Okay. Well, that person was electrified. Now, that's connected to water. That's connected to water in the process of it. Y'all turn with me to Revelation 22, 1 and 2. What does it say?
And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and of the Lamb. And in the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yield her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations.
Now, God even telling us how heaven is going to be. He said, let me tell you something what I'm going to have with them. You're going to have the water of life. You're going to have the fruit. And you're going to have the leaves. He said, now, this is how you're going to be able to live forever. I'm going to tell you how things are set up. He tells us in Revelation 22 how I'm going to have water, I'm going to have fruit, and I'm going to have leaves. And you're going to live forever. That's how those men were living 800 and 900 years. And when they started eating meat and life started shortening down to 500, 200, 100 in the process of it. Look at the 17th verse, what it say? Revelation 22 and 17.
And the Spirit and the bride said, come. And let him that heareth say, come. And let him that is athirst come, and whosoever will, let him take the water of life freely.
So that's how you're going to live forever. Tell somebody you got to drink the water. What's the process today? Start consuming water. And don't use now. What I used to do before this, I used to my Pepsi, whatever juice or Kool-Aid or whatever, I counted that as my liquid intake. Now we ain't talking about that. We're talking about straight water. Water, not Pepsi, not juice, not Kool-Aid, but just drink water. And then you some of the ailments in your body, you'll start feeling my diabetes change. I used to take the shot, and my whole diabetes process changed when I started eating plant-based, drinking more water. Now it's kind of thing now. I like sipping on water. I can just, that's my drink of choice now. I like it. When I call myself want to splurge, I drink some tea. But I like drinking water. A lot of times I have around the house, I have me water and I'm just sipping on it, water. And then when I want to splurge, I'm either do tea or the Arizona tea, one of them. And that's my splurging. I ain't dealing with no sodas or nothing of that nature. I try not to deal with that stuff. Y'all love the Lord? So when God came and he manifested himself on the water, the miracles and everything he's doing in the process. Let's go to St. John 5. He's showing how he manifests himself through, he's dealing with water. It seems like he want to bring everything to the water. You want to bring man to the water. But in our system, it don't want the water. St. John 5, 1 through 4, read.
After this, there was the feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bathsheba, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool, and troubled the water. Whosoever then first, after the troubling of the water, stepped in, was made whole of whatsoever disease he had.
God was doing everything he can. Now, there ain't no number one person gonna get the miracle, the first one in the water. But a whole lot of people jumped in that water. He was doing everything he can to try to get that human tree to get in the water. The miracle that's in the water. At this particular pool, the angel would come and trouble the water. But what if you just pick up a bottle of spring water and just drink it? What can happen? What miracle can take place with your relationship with God? What miracle can take place in your body? Maybe you can stop shooting that needle. Maybe you can start dealing with your diabetes. And so forth. Simply plant-based, eating the greenery, drinking that water, and dealing with them starches. Don't deal with no dairy. Try not to consume. When you do, you consume just nibbles. It ain't your everyday life. When you do consume starches, when you do consume, I don't deal with milk, and so forth. When you do consume some cheese, dairy, and so forth, make sure it's not everyday part of your life. And so forth, because that wasn't what the whole design was. God did want us to drink milk, but we'll get into that in another chapter dealing with the milk. Let's notice him in James, the 2nd chapter and the 16 and 17 verse, because this is the part where I was telling you all about your body will tell you certain things. So now here go the man of God telling, okay, you're dealing with the spiritual side, but now he's telling the people, now you need to do things needful for your body. This is the natural side of it. 16, 17 verse, what is that?
And one of you say unto them, Depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled. Notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful to the body. What doeth it profit? Even so faith, if it have not works, is
You see, now
dead.
you can be all deep all you want. That's why you got all these people who criticize and speaking against eating this way and living this way, but they sick. He said, now you got your faith. He said, but let me tell you something. You need to give them the things that is needful for the body. He said, your body's still gonna need what it needs. Yeah, you got some faith. You got some faith, and you believe God for this, and you believe God for that. But if you keep eating them pork chops, I don't care what your faith is, that high blood pressure is still gonna come. You know. So he said, give the thing needful for the body. He said, you can be all deep all you want. You know, that chicken still got on your table in less than 45 days. It was on your table, full of steroids and whatever that they shot in there. That hamburger, that cow, full of, he's slobbing on the side of the road right now. If you're driving in the car right now, stop out there and get your flashlight and point at that cow's mouth. You see he's slobbing because he's sick. And you cannot cook that out. That's why Deacon Brown, because he fed them every day, that fake food. They had them mooing, running to him when he brought that in. Why? Because they weren't eating no grass. They walking over the grass and come get some food that's been genetically modified to help them swell up. So now, again, this is the part that Chris was sharing with me. Luke 4 and 23. Read.
And he said unto them, You will surely say unto me this proverb, Physician, heal thyself. Whatsoever we have heard done in Capernaum, do also here.
He said,
in
you
thy
got the authority to heal yourself. And what he do with a pro athlete, he give them, they do their training, and that's why they now the athletes are saying to one of the other athletes who keep getting hurt, he said, you need to fire your trainer. Something wrong with you. You keep getting hurt over and over and over. Why? Because a good trainer, he ain't gonna just have you down here doing no jumping jacks. A good trainer gonna have you eating healthy. Why? Because if it gets you to eat a certain way, then your bone structure gonna be stronger. Your breathing process gonna be stronger, and so forth. So you say, physician, heal thyself. You got the power. If you go naturally, you could prevent certain things. Everything, don't go laying hands. No, it's some things that you can eat away. Y'all love the Lord? Because it's some death in that pot. COVID came, it made you stay in the house, and you cooking death in the pot. You didn't have to fight no noisy pestilence in the air because you stayed in the house. You healthy and you stayed in the house. And when you go to the hospital, when you got a real sick person, they quarantine that person. You can't go in the room. You can't be in there. And then here come the medical field telling healthy people quarantine. And death was in the pot. Let's go to 2 Kings 4 and how you can put the wrong ingredient in your food You could put the wrong herbs. Just like yesterday, we was talking about biblically, you don't supposed to cook milk and meat together. I didn't even know that. Now, I'm not a cook, so I don't know. So all this is new to me. I didn't know some people fry the chicken and have the milk. How y'all say it work? You know how it work? Marinated. I didn't know that. I just thought maybe about that. That's why that church's chicken had me hooked on that stuff. When I would leave the state and be gone, or leave the country, be gone a little while, when I came back home, I wanted me some church's chicken. That thing had me. Me and Minister Terry used to stop at church in Centronella. We used to stop, leaving Mississippi, you stopped in Centronella. I think that's the name of that city. They had a little church's chicken. We stopped right there and get 15 pieces, and we heading home, back to Florida. That dope had me. It was called Church's Chicken. Death was in the pot. I'm not talking about, I'm not going to say Church's Chicken was killing people and so forth, but it was doing something to me. 2 Kings 4:38. Read.
And Elisha came again to Gilgad, and there was a dearth in the land, and the sons of the prophets were sitting before him. And he said unto his servants, Set on the great pot, and seethe pottage for the sons of the prophets.
And said, now cook some food for these sons.
And one went out into the field to gather herbs, and found a wild...
Now this is the seasoning. This is the seasoning that they putting in. Read.
And found a wild vine, and gathered thereof wild gourds his lap full, and came and shred them into the pot of pottage, for they knew them not. So they poured out the men to eat. And it came to pass, as they were eating of the pottage, and they cried out and said, O thy man of God, there is death in the pot, and they could not eat thereof.
They taste it just like you got a little taste of the food, and they taste it. Hey, man, there's death in this pot. That stuff was showing up. Someone right. How they knew? Their body told them. They taste the food and says death in the pot. Their body told them it was death in the pot. Now let's see who came. Who was the chef? Who came and fixed the stuff? Read. The 2 Kings 4:41. Read.
And he said, but he said, then bring meal.
Now look at him. So the man of God told him to bring some meal. What they cooking with today? Flour. He said, bring some meal. Read.
And he cast it into the pot, and he said, Pour out for the people, that they may eat. And there was no harm in the pot.
He went and got some meal and cooked with. It was death in that pot. He said, go and get some meal and put it in there. Read. Keep on reading.
And there came a man from Bel-Shalisha, and brought the men of God bread.
He ain't brought no bill. Well, you've been looking at the Corona commercials or something. You've been looking at Snoop Dogg too much. You better stop looking at them Snoop Dogg commercials. He brought him some bill. No, read that 42nd verse. What is that?
And there came a man from Bel-Shalisha, and brought the men of God bread of the first fruits, 20 loaves of barley, and full ears of corn in the husk thereof. And he said, Give unto the people, that they may eat. And his servitor said, What should I set this before 100 men? And he said again, Give the people, that they may eat. For thus saith the Lord, They shall eat, and shall leave thereof. So he set it before them, and they did eat, and left thereof, according to the word of the Lord.
The man of God told them, he said, now put some meal in there, go and get some bread, and some barley, and some corn. The man of God telling them what to eat. Why? Because these was the sons of the prophet. These were the men of God. They were on a certain diet. Now those men of God also knew when something wasn't right with when the moment they tasted it, they said, man, we don't eat this. Matter of fact, they described it to, man, there's death in this pot. How many people cooking today and there's death in the pot? Do you understand that drinking water is reversing of aging? It deals with rheumatism, eczema. Let me see all the things in my study. Heartburn, fatigue, constipation, sugar cravings, decreased urination, frequent illnesses, bad skin, premature aging, excess weight and obese, high blood pressure, cholesterol, digestive disorders, gastric stomach ulcers, respiratory. All of these things can be helped with drinking water also. Tell somebody, drink the water in this process. So God is giving us the importance. Even when Naaman was a leper and God wanted him to be healed, he wanted to say, just go in that water. How God is trying so much to get man to go back to the water. Tell somebody you got to go back to the water. Try to drink a gallon of water a day. And if you can, then when your first stages of it, you can, I detoxed for 7 days. I didn't eat no cooked food for 7 days. I went raw. I ate fruit and vegetables, fruit and salad for the first 7 days of me starting this. It was just fruit and salad. I tried to get seeded fruit and so forth. And I went 7 days and I went through the detox period. I got sick and craving. That's when I realized that this stuff, there was something to this. When I started craving and shaking and sweating and allergies and everything. That was around my 4th day, and my 5th day and the 6th day I started getting a breakthrough. My body started changing. It's almost like I just broke. I didn't give my body what it was accustomed to, the drug that was in the meat that I was eating and so forth. And then I was drinking a gallon of water a day, and that helped me. And then my wife started cooking the plant-based food. We started eating a lot of mushrooms. Our cereal was it Kamut, you know. And that's when I saw all this sugar smacks and all this stuff. They were imitating from God. Kamut, and instead of powdered sugar, we had agave and so forth. All of these things contributed in there, along with that gallon of water a day. And the pains that was in my body, they started going away. And then reverse the aging. You're going to drink this some water, and you're going to go in that sun, and you'll see some youthfulness come back. And don't be in it. Some people weigh themselves every day. I don't do that. You know, because I wasn't doing it for weight loss. Weight loss, the obesity was part of my sickness. So losing the weight was part of it, but that wasn't I was trying to get healthy. So I had the weight was coming off because I was eating to live the Bible way.